Alright, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to ZSR and welcome to the Minish Cap 90% weekly race. We are ready for the action. It's been a while, so let's dive right in. Let's see what's going on, and Miss is going to be on commentary. Have a good show, everybody.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Right, we are going to kick off this race any time now. Oh, we got the third racer joined 2 seconds before we were about to start. Right, so just a little bit longer now, and then we'll be sending our runners off and starting the race. But yes, everyone who's here that hasn't seen the announcement already in the Minish Cap Speedrunning Discord, we have a big announcement to make. We are starting a new Minish Cap Any Percent tournament. This is going to be the first tournament we've had in like 6 years. The last one was in 2018, so it was about time that we had a new one. It was so long ago, I wasn't even a member of the community when it was last held, so yeah, there's so many new people that have turned up and been running Minish Cap since the last one, so yeah, super exciting. Sign-ups are now open, and it's gonna close. We're gonna close the sign-ups at the end of October, so if you're interested in joining the tournament and you've not speedrun Minish Cap, you have enough time to learn the game. Okay, I think we're all ready to go, so now we can send our racers off. All right, fancy. We got the 3-person layout. So, so some things with Minish Cap Any Percent. So, at the beginning of the run, we start doing a RNG manipulation. So, if you notice, everyone started resetting their games at certain time periods before the start of the race. We are aiming to collect a rupee drop at the beginning. As we play through the speedrun, we're going to have to buy some items, and ideally we need rupees to get them. And there are pots in Link's house that drop rupees depending on RNG. So right now we can reset the game, which resets the RNG value to a known value. And if we do exactly the same inputs through the intro sequence, when we throw the pots, they're always going to drop the same thing, and we're going to get blue rupees from them. So we'll get 1 blue rupee, and then we'll get the red rupee from the chest. So we'll start with 25 rupees, which is enough for what we need at this point in the speedrun. So I believe everyone here is playing on emulator. We're just going to be playing on emulator mostly. Other versions of the game are also good to speedrun. We got the Switch NSO Plus release of the game. That's a really popular version. A bunch of people are speedrunning on that. There's not too many timing differences between them, other than the Switch version runs a fraction of a FPS faster. So over the course of a run, it's a couple dozen seconds faster. And also the saving quitting function is a little bit faster as well on the Switch version. But other than that, most of the gameplay is identical between all of the like the emulator and on console. So we see everyone collecting their rupees from those pots. Inku did not get a Kato. What? Okay, this is oh no. Yeah, Inku's resetting to do the RNG manipulation again. This is 100% nerves, because yeah, that RNG manipulation is not a difficult RNG manipulation to do. It's very silly to make a mistake on it. Kato also messed it up and got a green rupee instead of the blue rupee. So they are short, and they're gonna have to try and grind for rupees through luck a little bit later on. But Nimbus demonstrated it for us. Well done, Nimbus. So yeah, we're just going to be playing through the intro sequence of the game in the intentional manner. So we're escorting Zelda. She gets a shield for us. We knock the rock back at the this Deku Scrub, and then we're going up to the castle. If you've ever played Minish Cap, the first half an hour of the speedrun is going to be almost identical to what you've seen. There's going to be some tricks here and there that are going to be interesting, but pretty much we're just going to be following the intentional path through the game. The things are going to get real crazy in the second half. Like, there's loads of crazy tricks that we're going to do and lots of sequence breaks. But yeah, a lot of the beginning half is dominated with long cutscenes and not really being able to do anything about that. Hey, Toads. Thanks for the good luck. They definitely need it. They 2 out of 3 have failed the rupee minute at the beginning of the run, which is fantastic. Yeah. Inku has opted to reset to get the blue rupee, and Kato has continued and is just going to try and farm for rupees on the way. Honestly, kind of not surprising for Minish Cap races. I believe some people forgotten to set the text speed to fast in races in the past. This is something that happens. I believe everyone has fast text speeds today, though, so... Alright, so now we have the sword. We're going to be heading over to Minish Woods. So this is going to be showing off some of the primary movement that we're going to be doing in this game. You can roll with Link, and it gives us a speed boost, so we ideally want to be rolling everywhere, just because it's faster. Also, in the middle of our roll, we're invulnerable, so we're going to use that to roll through enemies so that they don't deal damage to us. Now, every single room that we're going to go through, there's going to be enemies that are in the way. The enemies spawn in fixed positions, but then they start moving based on RNG, so we're not going to know exactly where they are, but because we've played it so many times, we have a rough understanding of where they're going to be. And we're going to try our best to avoid getting hit by the enemies. Like, there's kind of two reasons why we don't want to get hit by enemies. One, we take damage. The more damage we take, the more likely we're going to die, which is bad. We don't want to die because that will lose a lot of time. And two, getting hit by an enemy causes knockback. So we move the wrong direction most of the time. And we get stunned for a period of time where we can't be at rolling speed, so it's just slow. Sometimes we intentionally want to get hit and get a damage boost in the right direction. That can be good sometimes, but only in like very specific situations. Alright, so we've gone and hit a trigger later on in the woods to activate Eslo, and then we come back and save them by killing those Octos. And then we're now going to be introduced to the main gimmick mechanic of this game that distinguishes it from the other Zelda games. Shrinking, we're going to turn small. So there is a trick at this point where once you've shrunk, there's a very precise set of frame inputs for these rolls that you can do to make this window and reach this lily pad cycle. Now, I'm going to be absolutely like blown away if anyone ever gets this in a race. It's only been done twice ever in speedruns. Toad has done that twice, and only like in the last month and a half or so. And we've known about this for years. It's essentially a TAS-only strat. But there's zero downside to go for it, so I hope we'll be seeing people actually going for it, and there are some set of inputs which makes it more reliable than we thought in the past. So we might be able to, if we see it in a race, that will be incredible. Really, like, it's not an insane time save either. It saves 3 seconds, but 3 seconds is a lot during this early section of the run where everything's very standardized. Yeah, so more fetch quests here in Minish Village. We're just going and talking to specific NPCs, going and grabbing the Jabbernuts so that we can then go and talk to the other NPCs, and then we'll gain access to Deepwood Shrine. So a good enter Deepwood time is under 10 minutes. Kato is probably on pace for it, possibly. I think they're going to be... I don't think they're going to be on pace for it, actually. I think they're going to be a couple seconds after that. So Deepwood Shrine's our first dungeon. It's the first dungeon in the game, so it's going to be a beginner, like, introductory dungeon, so there's nothing going to be too crazy in here. And unfortunately, we don't have any major tricks to skip stuff. We know of, like, ways of being able to do tricks that would skip stuff here, but the main drawback is we have no items. We only have sword and shield, and a lot of the tricks in Minish Cap do involve having items like the Gust Jar or the Ocarina. So if we're going to get the Gust Jar later in this dungeon, but the Gust Jar doesn't help us with anything. Yo, Tumultac. How's it going? Yeah, so Kato shows off another a damage boost in the right direction. Some of these puff stools here are really... they really do get in the way. There's, like, these guys move a lot based on RNG, so you have no idea where exactly they're going to be. but there's one specific spot where they normally walk into the way of us, and we get damage boost in a nice direction, which is nice. So the room Kato's about to go to, this room with this pesto, is quite RNG dependent. If we're super lucky, the pesto goes off into the corner of the room and you can ignore him and you don't need to slash and kill him, but Kato had to kill him. We'll see what luck Nimbus gets. Yeah, Minish Cap's got some interesting tricks that involve pushing and pulling objects, and we have statues in this dungeon, so we can do stuff. We can do some glitches, but nothing's super useful right now. There's a lot of things that are very close to being useful, and that would save a lot of time, but they're just out of reach. So, for all intents and purposes, this dungeon is intended, like, it's all in the intended order. We're going to just get 4 keys from 4 different parts of the dungeon and do it as fast as we can. Yeah, Nimbus is getting bullied by these guys. I think Nimbus intentionally killed themselves. Because they were so low on health. Kato got a lucky heart drop and goes to pick it up. One of the quirks with this game that runners pay attention to is when you pick up an item for the first time in the run, a text box appears to explain what the item is. So, for example, when Kato picked up the heart, a text box opened up and it said in Japanese, "You picked up a piece of a heart." Not a piece of a heart, just a regular heart. But once you get it the first time, it will never happen again. So now for the rest of the run, he can pick up hearts and there won't be another text box. So we as runners need to pay attention to the items that we've picked up throughout the run and pay attention to are we going to pick up an item, like if Nimbus was to pick up a green rupee right now, it would be the first time they pick up a green rupee, so they need to be prepared to close the text box for it. So Kato does the Madapilla fight, gets it in 2 cycles. That's a fight that can be done in ideally 2 cycles, but if you are too slow with your sword slashes, it will be a 3-cycle fight. It's surprisingly easy to accidentally get a 3-cycle. So Kato and Nimbus both failed the rupee manip at the beginning of the run. Inku reset, and Kato is continuing and is gonna have to try and find rupees later on. If you see Kato's rupee count as 21, they should be on 25. Okay, so we got the Kato going through the lily pad section. Lily pad movement is really counterintuitive. We basically want to be pushing it diagonally. For some reason, the lily pad moves as fast in either like vertically and horizontally. It moves independently, so it can move just as fast directly upwards if we go upwards or diagonally. So it just makes sense to go diagonally, because then when you add those 2 speeds together, the overall speed is much greater. And Kato got completely robbed by the lily pad there. The lily pad was right against the side of the shore, and they were trying to get off the lily pad, but there was at least 1 pixel of water in between, and this game is brutal when it comes to water. If there's a single pixel of water, Link will drown in it. Oh, this is what Kato's doing. Kato's going to go and get this other rupee. There's a red rupee over here. So they're probably going to be changing up the rupee route quite considerably on the fly. Yeah, so the whole point of the lily pad basement is we're getting a boss key, and then we go back to the beginning of the dungeon and fight the boss. There is an out of bounds we can do in the lily pad section to get to the boss key without having to ride the lily pad for a little bit, but it is slow, so we don't do it. It's about 5 seconds slower than the intentional method, so unfortunately we won't see people going for it. Oh my god, Inku just got a luck-based blue rupee just to troll him. If he just continued like normal instead of resetting, he would have got he got saved if that was the rupee they got. Okay, so Kato has already finished the fight. Green Chew is a pretty simple boss. It's just 3 cycles. We use the Gust Jar on it until it becomes vulnerable, and then you slash it a bunch of times. You have to slash it, depending on which... There's 3 cycles of the fight. In the first cycle, you need to hit it 4 times. Middle cycle, you hit it 5 times. Last cycle, you hit it 4 times. Now, the amount of time it spends on the ground is determined by RNG. And we count it in terms of like how many slashes you do to it before it stands up. The shortest it can stay on the ground is 5 slashes, and the longest is 9 slashes. And if it's on the ground for like 9 slashes, you're losing about 1.5 seconds. So basically, this boss can just lose you 3 seconds to RNG, but also in the final cycle, it can either jump once and then we Gust Jar it to make it vulnerable, or it jumps 5 times in a row, and then each time it jumps and is on the ground, we're trying to use the Gust Jar on it. Ideally, we want it to only jump once, because that saves a lot of time, instead of it being in the air all the time. That can lose 5-ish seconds or so. So this is quite an RNG-heavy boss. Very little of it comes down to actual execution. So Kato's got the bombs. They show off a nice damage boost there. We just like go to a specific spot on the ground, pick up a bomb, walk it to the thing, and damage boost through. They're not going to worry too much about taking damage in this section because they're going to heal almost immediately afterwards. Very important they go and get this Wind Crest by Link's house. We're going to come back here later to talk to Tingle. We're going to be doing the Tingle side quest because we want the magic boomerang from that for some glitches later. So this is setting up stuff that is going to happen in like 25 minutes time. So when we go and see the hurdy-gurdy guy in town, he gives us the Kinstone bag and lets us fuse. And there's a whole tutorial of like, hey, fuse with me and I'll teach you like how to do it. And we're just like, nope, and we just save and quit and reset. And yeah, we just skip having to do the fusion with him, which saves it saves like 10 seconds. It's it's absolutely worth going for. It does mean that we're going to have this blue Kinstone in our bag the entire run because we don't use it for anything. We are going to be doing Kinstone fusions later, but they're not going to involve that blue Kinstone. Very importantly, we're going to have to spend quite a lot of effort getting Kinstones. That's a real make or break point later on in the run. Oh, so Kato's doing the first glitch in the run. That is guard skip. So this game tracks what tile Link is standing on, and it checks if it's a safe tile to respawn Link on if they drown in water. If you see some of the older Zelda games, when Link drowns in a room or falls into the void, it respawns Link at the beginning of the room, but Minish Cap's a bit smarter than that and respawns you on the literal tile. for some reason in town, the road tiles aren't counted as safe tiles. So we can go and stand by the guard on a bit of grass, which is just a safe tile, and then walk on the road, drown, and then it will respawn us there. And if we do a pause buffer in the middle of that, it snaps the camera directly to Link and we regain control immediately, so the camera slowly panning up. And that gives us time to slip past the guard, who's moved down to try and pan across to us. So we're going to see Nimbus going for it here. And he's got the postman coming into the way. There we go. So, yeah. Pause buffer, do your equip, and then roll left and you skip the guard. So that skips having to show the guard the spin attack. We've already got the spin attack, so it's not like a sequence break or anything. But it saves like a second, so it's worth going for. We knew about it for a while, but didn't used to do it until more recently because we needed to go past that guard multiple times. But now we never go back through that guard, so it's faster to just skip it once and never have to do it again. So Kato is in Mount Krenel right now, and they have just done the regular rupee route, and they got everything, so they have a very high amount of rupees right now. If we look at Nimbus, we're going to see the amount of rupees we're supposed to have. We go into that cave, and there's 15 rupees on the floor, and a free fairy for us to pick up. And as we saw Kato do just a little bit ago, there is a red rupee on the cliff there that we're going to grab, so that we're on 40. Later on in Mount Krenel, we're going to be buying the grip ring, which costs 40. And as Inku is showing us, the first thing we need to buy in the run is this bottle, which costs 20. Don't worry, you haven't missed much. The beginning of the run is very slow, so the first 20 minutes, there's no crazy tricks or anything. Everyone's done the first trick, which is just a very, very simple and quick NPC skip, which only saves like a second or so. All of the really cool stuff is going to happen in the next, in about 8 minutes time is when all of the big sequence breaks start happening. So Mount Krenel is going to be pretty much the intended way through. We're going to be doing some things to speed stuff up. So there is a little. Oh, if you look at Kato there, there's a little trick there that we use the mushroom. We use the gust jar to grab that mushroom from the other side of the wall. That's not super crazy, and a lot of people did that casually on their playthroughs, not knowing if that was intentional or not. So with bombs, there's a little quirk we have with bombs. It's basically a glitch. When you when you place a bomb on the ground, it has a fixed timer before it will then blow up. If you pick up and throw the bomb, the moment the bomb makes contact with the ground, if the timer is above a certain value, it will lower the fuse timer to this middle threshold value. So if we place a bomb, pick it up, throw it immediately, it saves about half a second on the fuse timer. So ideally we want to be doing that wherever. Now, there is a glitch called roll lifting, where if you roll the frame after Link becomes interactable with an object, Link rolls, but also picks up the object at the same time. And the glitch is that the object moves to a position that is 8 pixels underground. And objects aren't supposed to be underground, so it immediately snaps it to the surface. Now, with bombs, this makes the bombs immediately bounce on the ground, which makes that whole glitch of the bomb fuse timer getting reset quickly happen instantaneously. We save about a second. So roll lifting is a frame perfect trick, and everyone's going to be trying to go for it when possible, but it's not the biggest deal if they miss it. But whenever you see them place a bomb and roll at the same time, that's what they're going for. And you know if it's worked if the bomb bounces up and down in the air. How does stuff like that get found? Well, I mean, we found it because someone tried placing a bomb and rolling at the same time, and then that happened. But how we understood why it works is because this game's been decomped, and we have the whole game, almost the entire game, converted to C code, so we can understand why does the bomb do what it's supposed to do, and then we look at the file that shows the code how the bomb's supposed to work, and then we read that and. Anyone who's a computer programmer can understand what the intention behind things is supposed to be. Nimbus getting some p-hat problems at the top of Mount Crenel. This is a real rough spot here. This mushroom pull, the bane of Minish Cap speedrunners. Honestly, this entire area is so dependent on RNG. Anyone who's going for PB attempts can end up resetting here quite often just because of how bad the enemy RNG gets. It's still very early on in the run, and there's so many tricks later on, but you can end up losing 15-20 seconds here, and that can end up being too much. We also know a couple of out of bounds that we can do in this area, but unfortunately none of them let us get to the dungeon any faster, which is really unfortunate. We'd love to be able to skip some of these block push puzzles because they're quite boring, honestly. Right, Kato's in the last section of Mount Crenel. That's the Moldoza path. Once they navigate through and don't get killed by any invisible Moldozers that are hiding behind the foliage, they can go and talk to Malari, who's one of the Minish here, and then they're going to open up the dungeon, and we're going to start Cave of Flames, the second dungeon. So the amount of bombs we have is kind of tight, and we do have basically one bomb of that we can accidentally use in this whole section before it starts being a problem. Kato has wasted one bomb and they're fine, so they're going to use one bomb at the beginning here. They managed to get the roll lift there. That blows up this doorway, and then they're going to be fine for bombs for the rest of the for the rest of this dungeon, at least. So Cave of Flames is... the first half of Cave of Flames is going to be quite RNG heavy as well. That first room that Kato had to deal with had a lot of enemies, but if you do it enough times, you kind of get used to how far they go. That bomb drop they just picked up there, that is a guaranteed bomb drop. We know that that pot is always going to have that item. It's not RNG based at all. Now this room here is there's a lot of RNG. This Helmet Sword room. Let's see how well they do. Yeah, getting a triple grab with the dust jar is ideal. That's the best you want to get. That was a pretty decent RNG fight from Kato. He missed one of the slashes, so it could have been slightly faster, but that was pretty good RNG overall. So we're once in like a minute or so, Kato is going to start doing the first major glitch in the run, and that is going to be angle retention. So, when Link jumps out of a hole, there is a bug where if you hold diagonal when you do it, Link's facing direction is given a diagonal value. That's not supposed to happen. Link is only supposed to have a facing value of up, down, left, or right. And because the game assumes that Link can only face up, down, left, or right in the facing value, it makes like when you're doing things like pushing and pulling objects, it uses this value to tell the object where to move. Now, objects, when you push and pull them, aren't supposed to move diagonally. So we're going to exploit that here. We're going to jump out of this hole diagonally, go up to a statue and start pulling it diagonally, and we're going to pull it out of bounds, because objects, when you pull them, don't have any collision, because if Link can pull an object, then it's going to be fine. So what Kato's going to do is they're going to pull it to a specific spot, and it's going to delete the loading zone for this doorway. They're then going to push it once, grab it when it's out of bounds, and pull it back into bounds. And then they're going to push it onto the spot so that they can get the key from it. Now the loading zone is gone, we can do out of bounds movement to get to a later section of the dungeon. They're going to do blind movement here, hit the screen transition, and land perfectly on that bridge. That's the bridge strat. That's pretty tricky to get, but we've got a nice setup to make that very consistent. And now they've got this fight. So that whole thing skipped us having to use a small key on a locked door, which means that we can get this cane and have a small key, which lets us go immediately down into the basement, instead of having to use the cane to go and ride the minecart just now and go and get us an extra small key. That whole thing saves about 1:45 to 2 minutes. That's not the only application of angle retention that we're going to do. We're going to, in the next room, with these roller bites, we're going to do angle retention again to pull a pillar. So in the second half of Cave of Flames, there's a huge lava basement, and it takes a really long time. There's a bunch of fixed cycles of moving platforms, and we want to skip it. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this roller bites. We're going to put one of them inside of a wall. That's going to give us a damage boost in a little bit. Now we're going to throw a roller bite over to the pillar, and then we're going to do angle retention to pull this pillar out of this corner. And then we're going to use angle retention to very specifically put the pillar into a specific spot. Kato didn't pull the pillar enough, and that kills the trick. They're going to have to reset the room. Yeah, they can't pull it now. They have to go back. You have to count the number of times that you pull it, and you're supposed to pull it 6 times there, and he only pulled it 5 times. But Nimbus gets the angle retention, and Inku is also going to be doing the angle retention as well. Alright, Kato tries it again. 3, 4, 5, and 6 times there. Now they're going to push it up against this wall, do another angle retention to pull it up once into the wall. Now we're going to do angle retention and grab the pillar, and that snaps Link inside the wall, but not high enough to touch the screen transition. But the roller bite's there, so it damage boosts us up to touch the screen transition, and then we transition into the room above. But whilst we were inside the wall, it pushes us up off of the floor layer 1, up to the higher elevation layer 2. And then when we're on layer 2, we can walk over the top of all of the walls and the regular collision that's there, to skip directly to the boss. And then we land back inbounds inside the boss room, and we skip the boss key. And very importantly, there is a fairy, and we need to bottle that fairy, because we're going to be using that fairy much later in the run, but we need something in a bottle in a couple minutes' time for another trick. And now we've got the Gleerock fight. Gleerock is another kind of very simple boss fight. It's 3 cycles. It's very easy to do this consistently at almost exactly the same speed. But there's a lot of RNG involved in how long it shoots the fire for and what angle it decides to face. A lot of the angle is determined by where Link is, so we try and stand in the same position in the room every time. Right, so Nimbus is doing the angle retention here. They didn't quite get it. They're going to try doing it again. Cool. They got it to the spot, and are they going to clip up? Yep, there you go. Inku is putting the roller bite back into the right spot, and they're going to do angle retention as well. Yep, and they get it. Yeah, again, health is an important factor. We want to make sure we don't die in this boss. If we die in the boss, it's almost like run over. It takes so long to get back to this point, and you can't do some of the tricks to like a second time. The things like the pillars and stuff are get locked in place when they get put in the ground, so there's you can't re-pull them or anything. So once we've beaten this boss, we can come back to Malari in Mount Crenel and get the green sword. The green sword is an upgrade to the regular sword that increases the damage. So now enemies are going to die faster, which is good. Oh, this angle retention, this was known about for like 15 years, but before we talk about that, Kato's about to be doing a trick. They use the bottle and then read the sign. That gives them damage and vulnerability. They're not going to get hurt by any of these enemies now. The enemies are just going to walk through them. Now we're going to be positioning this beetle here into this corner, and they're going to pixel a line, push against the beetle to charge up a push value, clip into the wall, and then get a jump animation happen to jump out of bounds. That is really complicated. There's a really technical explanation for that, but basically what I said is what you need to know. They push against a guy and then like hold sideways, they clip into a wall and jump out of bounds. There's a bunch of out of bounds movement that they're going to do here, and they got really unlucky. They tried going for McGeehaw. There is a spot that you can clip back into bounds. If you're on the right pixel, you can land. There's a 50-50 whether or not you're going to be on an upper or a lower pixel when you do the screen transition. And it's basically luck. And they got unlucky. They were on the upper pixel and they got stuck inside the wall. And there's no way of getting out the wall when you're stuck. So you have to do a save and quit. So yeah, with the angle retention got found because like years ago, like 15 years ago, someone found out that when you jump out of a hole diagonally down left, Link's sprite is mirrored, and Link slashes in the opposite direction with his sword, and they thought that was just like a really interesting visual bug, and there was nothing else to it. And then in 2019, someone saw that and was like, has anyone tried pulling objects whilst doing that? And then they realized that, you actually store a glitched value, and then you can pull objects diagonally. And then they just kept looking in different places and found, hey, you can use it to pull objects into walls, you can delete loading zones, and you can snap Link inside walls. There's a bunch of so using all of that knowledge, we came up with the strats to be able to skip Cave of Flames second half. That whole section saves like 4 to 5 minutes. Is a huge time save. Now this beetle strat, this is real tricky. Like you need to be in a 2-pixel window when you move Link against the climbing wall. If you ever climb onto the climbing wall, you lose your damage and vulnerability state. So you have to go back to the sign, dump the bottle contents, and then read the sign to be able to get the state back. And you have a very tiny window for when the beetle is actually on the ground, and you're able to push against it before it starts moving back the other way. But Inku gets Chronal Clip done. nice and smoothly, and they're continuing on to go and get the boots. Yeah, they're all on the boots quest section of the run now. So we have to read that sign to set a flag in the game to say, hey, we've progressed through the game to this part. Now the boots are available to go and collect. So we have to go and turn Minish in the boots in the shoe shop and talk to some Minish. That lets us go to Lon Ranch, which Kato is in at the moment. We can get the spare key, open it up, and then head to the backside of Minish Woods, where we're going to get the witch's mushroom. And then the mushroom we'll take back to the shop and use that to get the boots. Boots are a fantastic item. They let us dash, so we're able to go faster than if we were rolling, which is great. Because with rolling, you have to press roll every single time your roll ends, and we get practice with it, and we rhythmically press roll at like the right timing to roll almost frame perfectly. But it can get a bit tiring, and just being able to hold the button down to boot dash is just nice. Kato is on their way to go and get the boots now. So they've gone and got the mushroom. There is a wind crest in town that they need to get. Iku, I saw, got it. Nimbus is going to go get it. I believe Kato got it. I hope they didn't forget to get it. But those wind crests are fast travel points. When we get the ocarina later, it will let us fast travel back to town. It's not run ending or anything if they don't get it. It just loses like 20 seconds. So Kato now has the boots, and we were supposed to have gone and got the red sword after we did the dungeon, but because we did Chronal Clip to clip out of bounds, we don't need to go and get the red sword right now. So yeah, we're just going to head directly to Castor Wilds, and we're going to be heading to the next dungeon to get the ocarina as soon as possible. There's going to be a bunch of tricks that have to be done to skip having to use clones, because we can't create clones yet until we get that red sword. So first things first, when we get to Swamp, we need to go and get the bow. So you come to the top left corner of the area, shrink, use the gust jar to push the lily pad along, and then we're going to have to do this fight with a bunch of Mulldozers for the bow. So we'll see what RNG Kato gets. This fight is so RNG heavy. That was a pretty decent fight from Kato, honestly. That wasn't too bad. And then there's the bow. Now, here's one of the most difficult sections of the entire run. This is Swamp Manip. So we need to RNG manipulate a bunch of kinstones for later. We're going to be doing the Tingle quest, and they require 4 green kinstones. We're going to get 3 of them right now. Kato didn't get the RNG manipulation. These inputs are very precise, so if you don't get them, you have to reset and to the last time you saved and try and do all of the inputs again. There's a very tight frame window on these. Okay, so they got 1 kinstone. They're going to do a they learned a manipulation here where you do exactly the same actions, and there's a bunch of visual cues you use. So they're 3 kinstones. Those pots that they smashed, they're all random except for the bomb one. The bomb was completely consistent. It's always that one. Now they're continuing this RNG manipulation through to this point here. They were a little bit fast there, but there is a pea hat there. They want to grab the pea hat. Are they going to get it? Yes. Okay. They managed to stun the pea hat, and they're going to bring it up. Now we're going to be doing pea hat clip. Normally we need to go and get a bunch of golden kinstones to do the puzzle in this area, but we're going to skip all of that by clipping out of bounds. We're going to position this pea hat in a very specific spot and do some movement to push it for it to push us through this corner. Oh no, I think he could have maybe got it from that position, but they're going to have to try that again. Okay, that looks good. Yeah, if they do a boot dash, they should clip through. There we go. So the bridges in this area are layer 2. So if we go and stand on them, we're on layer 2 and we're above everything else. But as soon as you step off the bridge, you go down to layer 1, where you're interacting with all the walls and everything. That P-hat pushes us through an exposed corner that normally you shouldn't be able to walk through, but the P-hat manages to push us through before we've touched the corner of the bridge that lowers us. So we're still on layer 2, above all of the collision, and we can just dash out of bounds and reach the dungeon in seconds, and we skip all of Swamp and all of Wind Ruins, and this saves like 3.5 minutes. And we're already in the next dungeon. Immediately upon getting into the dungeon, Kato did a save and quit to start another RNG manipulation. Every time they do a save and quit, from that point onwards, they're trying to do exactly the same inputs every time to get a consistent result out. So they got the RNG manipulation on the Armos to push us into the second Armos, and whilst inside there, we can turn and grab the lever and pull it without shrinking. So this section of the dungeon, we need to create clones to be able to get to one of the Minish portals to shrink. So we can turn the Armos on, move out of the way, and then grow again to be able to pull it. That skips all of that. That saves like 30 seconds. But also, we have to do that because we don't have the red sword to do it the intended way. And of course, this is all RNG manipulated, so they got they had 3 green kinstones earlier, and they got their 4th one from that guy, so they've got all the kinstones that they need. Yeah, Inku also got the Swamp manipulation, and they're in Fortress right now. Nimbus is having a go at Swamp Manip right now. They've had to reset. So there is an extension to the manipulation that Kato tried, but didn't get it past the kinstone earlier. That you get another kinstone from that Dark Nut, but it's not too bad for them. We need to get 1 red kinstone, which they're just going to grab from a chest, and it's not going to be too bad. Okay, Inku gets the manipulation for the Armos and drops the key. We're going to see if they're going to get the kinstone. So Kato's managed to get to the mitts, which is the dungeon item halfway through this dungeon. Once you get that, they're going to do a save and quit back to the beginning of the dungeon, because we're going to skip the entirety of the second half of the dungeon now and go directly to the boss. So now they're going to be manipulating. They're going to get this chest here. It's going to have a kinstone. And if they do the right inputs, right here, when they activate this Armos, it's going to go to the bottom left corner. And then they're going to be able to use it to clip through this corner, like so. Perfect. Now they're going to be doing portal items. If you use the mitts whilst sliding against the portal, and then push to jump onto the portal, Link gets displaced like this, so that when they jump onto the wall, they're very close to the top of the wall, and we've put a bomb in the right spot, and with the right timing, the bomb boosts us up to the top of the wall, and we're on layer 2. And as we know, with layer 2, you can avoid all of the regular walls and just walk directly to the boss. It's very important that we enter the room just before the boss and jump off of the doorway to get back down to the regular floor so that we can fight the boss normally. If we're still on the higher elevation, we can't interact with the boss. And if we don't enter that room earlier beforehand, the boss softlocks. So there's a real complicated thing going on with this boss, and what happens if you don't go into the room beforehand, that I won't get into, but yeah, the boss can softlock, and there's a potential that we might be able to get a boss skip by exploiting it more, but we've not had much success with it. So Mazao is a little bit harder than the other bosses. It actually requires some skill to be able to land the arrow shots correctly, and when we climb inside of its head, we have to hunt for the right pillar to be able to damage. It's essentially completely random which one of these pillars is going to have is going to be the real one. What we do know is that it's never the same twice in a row. So Kato saw when they did that fight that cycle, it was in the top right. So next time they go inside the head, they know it's not going to be the top right pillar. It has to be a different pillar. That's the only information you know. And Kato does some cool strats of flipping through the hands to speed up the fight a little bit. There you go. Ideally, the best RNG you can get is all the pillars stay at the front, and you go to them immediately. Depending on RNG, you can lose about 12 to 13 seconds in this fight. Yeah, Inku's got a pretty good fortress and has not exactly caught up to Kato. They're about 2 minutes behind, but that is that's about how far behind they were from doing from failing the reset at the beginning of the run, failing the manipulation and then resetting the very beginning of the run. If they hadn't done that, they would basically be tied with Kato right now. But now we got the Ocarina, and with the Ocarina we can fast travel. So we're going to fast travel around the overworld here and go and get. We're going to do the Tingle side quest. So the Tingle side quest is going to get us the Magic Boomerang. The Magic Boomerang is going to let us do a glitch in the next dungeon. But one of the issues with trying to get the Magic Boomerang is that one of the Tingle brothers is behind a cave that requires us to clone. And Kato is going to demonstrate how we're going to resolve that. So first there's 2 Tingles that we're going to go and talk to do the fusions with them. But if you notice, they're taking damage intentionally. They didn't grab the health after the boss fight. And they're getting low on health. They're going to go down to half a heart. That means that a bomb is going to kill them when it explodes. We're going to do a death abuse. We're going to time the bomb exploding with the frame that we enter the house in Lon Lon Ranch, and it's going to kill Link whilst he opens the door. And that's going to leave us an open doorway, and an open doorway lets us do the Ocarina glitch. So they've Kato just bonked into a tree to reveal a stump, and they're going to be doing a setup here. Oh, they're not even going to be doing the setup. They're going to be Eslo buffering. Okay, so they're going to be talking to Eslo to find the perfect frame. That is frame perfect, but you can buffer it, so they look for the right animation in the bomb. They get the Ocarina glitch, and then they're going to be doing a trick called Portal Jump Storage. So what is the Ocarina glitch? If you play the Ocarina, when you're about to go into a doorway or staircase, the Ocarina plays and it cancels the animation of going into the staircase. And that in turn cancels the Ocarina animation. When the Ocarina is played, it freezes time. And because the animation got cancelled, but it didn't actually get to its intended point of ending, it doesn't stop freezing time. So now Link can interact with the world with frozen time. It has a lot of different effects, but specifically the effect that we're doing there is when we go to the Minish portal, we jump onto it. Now the game needs to know which Minish portal you're near. So when you jump onto it, it jumps you to the middle of the portal. That only updates when the game is running normally. Because we froze time, the game doesn't know which Minish portal Link has gone to, and every time Link goes to a new room, it resets the coordinates for that Minish portal. So the coordinates are 00, which is somewhere really far in the top left-hand corner of the room. So when Kato jumped onto the portal, it tried jumping them towards this non-existent portal somewhere in the top left instead of directly onto the portal. And that brought them close enough to the wall so that they could jump and skip having to go through this cave and land by the Tingle brother. So we're going to see Inku doing all of this again. So they've done the death abuse on the door using a setup. They're going to be doing Ocarina glitch, they get it. So time's frozen right now. They're going to push against the portal, and then you see it made Link jump off to the side instead of directly towards the portal. Yeah, Inku does my setup. Instead of talking to Eslo and letting Eslo advance the game extremely slowly, when you hold the select button to talk to Eslo, the game advances by 2 frames in between each text box, so you can use that to effectively slow down time and see if you're getting the right frame or not. So that's what that was the setup Kato was using. Inku was using a setup involving bonking and doing, like, you just hold a specific direction and use items in a right sequence, and it delays, the animations of those items delay Link exactly the right number of frames to touch the door and open it on the right frame. Now, optimally, what Kato did is the fastest way, but it's extremely hard to get the Eslo buffer perfectly without losing a lot of time. If you mistime it, you completely kill the trick, and you die, and you have to go and get another fairy, and it loses a lot of time. If you're early, you have to buffer for a long time to get to the right frame, and it's slow. Whereas the setup that Inku does is exactly the same every time and very consistent. So, but it's a little bit slower. So it's a trade-off of, do you want to go fast or do you want to do it safely? So Kato is doing Ocarina Glitch again. They did another Death Abuse on the lake door, and they're going to try and do Ocarina Glitch. Ocarina Glitch is frame perfect. You have to press the ocarina, the frame after you press up to go into the doorway. If you press it 2 frames afterwards, you walk into the doorway and you have lost a huge amount of time because you have to do the entire setup all over again. So ideally, you're trying not to do that. But if you do it a frame early, it's fine because you end up just playing the ocarina instead. Now, one of the other effects of the time freeze effect from Ocarina Glitch is that the game doesn't update what kind of tile Link has stood on. As far as the game is aware, Link is on solid ground the entire time, so we can just walk over water, and we do that to skip getting the flippers, and we can go directly to this dungeon. So at this point in the game, we're supposed to be going and getting flippers, and we just don't do that because that's slow. So this is Temple of Droplets. Don't worry, everyone else hates this dungeon. This is the worst dungeon in the game. It has the hardest trick in the entire run, Octoclip. And yeah, it's a frame perfect trick that there's no setup for. Like, the setup involves doing a frame perfect input. So yeah, the frame perfect input is exactly 20 something frames, like 26 frames or so, after you start doing an animation. So there is almost no way to buffer it or time it nicely. You have to just learn muscle memory and keep going for until you get it. Oh no, Inku was 1 frame off on their inputs for doing the setup for Lake Door Ocarina Glitch, and they died. But luckily they saved just beforehand, so they can do the setup again and only lose 15-20 seconds. So yeah, Kato did another Ocarina Glitch in this dungeon to skip getting the first key and go directly to to get the boss key. And there they use the magic boomerang and then open the boss door. If you throw the magic boomerang, then whilst it's midair, open the boss door, hold the button that is bound to the magic boomerang, and the game won't transition Link into the next room whilst you're holding the boomerang. So Link does the animation for walking into the doorway without transitioning into the next room, and then Link is just stuck out of bounds. And then from that out of bounds position, we can just skip half the dungeon and go directly to the Blue Chew fight. Now, the aim of this is to get the lantern as quickly as possible. Once we get the lantern, we're then going to do Octoclip to skip directly into the Octo boss fight. So, yeah, once they get the lantern, they're going to do a save and quit and start doing that. But, yeah, that use of the magic boomerang to get to here and skip all of that time, that also skips a section that requires the flippers. So, if we want to not get the magic boomerang, we would either have to go and get the flippers or find something brand new. So Nimbus is doing a different route to everyone else. They're not doing Octoclip. They're going to be doing just a route that involves using clones. So they have to go to the castle now and upgrade to get the red sword. It's a slightly more consistent route, and it's about 4 minutes slower overall than the Octoclip route. Okay, so Kato has got the lantern after doing the blue Chew fight. By the way, the blue Chew fight is almost identical to the green Chew fight. The only difference is that it's electric, and it's electric on a fixed cycle, so you kind of just factor that in as well. So what is Kato doing? Kato is going to be pushing this pot in this room. So ice physics in this game are really broken. For some reason, when you roll with ice physics into a corner of an object, sometimes it just pushes you out at very high speed, and we're going to use that to clip out of bounds. Now, the setup is sub-pixel dependent, so all of this that they're doing is very specifically to get the right sub-pixels. They messed up their inputs there, and they have to restart it. But basically, our subpixels get reset when we push the pot, so we're making sure that we're doing precise inputs from the moment that we push the pot over to the side. Kato does a very weird setup here, but the whole point of the trick is to do that upwards roll. We're actually like holding diagonal and then doing a roll facing upwards, and ideally, we're going to roll into the corner of the pot, and it's going to fire us into the bottom right corner, and then we're going to clip through the corner into the boss fight. And that roll is the 26 frame perfect trick. They got it third try. Cool. Honestly, third try, not that bad. It loses about 12-ish seconds to retry it. But really, you don't want to lose more than you don't want to take more than 3 tries to do it, because now we're doing this boss fight. This boss, the final phase of it is completely random unless we can do an RNG manipulation. So you bet it, the entirety of that trick that they were doing, they were RNG manipulating so that they should know exactly what the boss is going to do right now. They used the rocks falling during this boss fight to know what the RNG value is. We know what all of the different patterns are for the different values. And given the drop pattern, we know what actions we need to do to get Octo onto a favorable RNG pattern so that we know what it's going to do. So they're coming up to the final cycle right now. So Octo's going to bash the wall a couple times, and I don't like the look of that one. They're going to do a bunch of rolls and just hope for the best, but no, they didn't get it. Okay, so they got sucked up by Octo. Octo's going to fire a rock and then spray ink everywhere. This ink cycle loses about 30 seconds. During this phase, we need to hit Octo 3 times. So best case scenario is Octo fires 3 rocks immediately, we knock them all back, 0 inks, we do it the fastest possible way. If it's completely random, Octo can either shoot do one ink attack and then shoot 3, or they can do the ink attack twice in a row, and then by that time they've shot a rock every single time and we've done the 3. So you can either get 0 ink, 1 ink, or 2 ink. And because they lose 30 seconds per ink, you can either do it as fast as possible, lose 30 seconds to RNG, or lose a minute to RNG. And Kato failed the 2 ink RNG that they got and has to reset the Octo clip and do the entire thing all over again because they died. That is a huge time loss for Kato, and that puts Inku back into the lead. Inku got Octoclip. I didn't see how many tries they took, but we're going to have a look at the rock patterns that they get and see if they're on something favorable. No. Okay, Inku is on a bad... Okay, they're doing a bunch of rolls there. I don't know if they got it... Like, I don't know if they got Octoclip second try, or if they got it third or fourth try. I didn't manage to see that. Kato got Octoclip again almost instantly. I don't know if that was a first try or not. Inku got hit first cycle. Should be 5 rolls. I don't know if they're going to go for that though, or if they're just going to stand still and hope for the best. Okay, they stood still when they got lucky. Okay, Inku got 0 ink. They don't lose any time at the second part at the end of the boss fight. Alright, we're gonna see what RNG Kato gets. They got hit second. What is second? I think that's... Is that 5 roll? I got them mixed up. The getting hit first one is... yeah, there they go. Okay. Getting hit first wave, you don't do anything, and you just fingers crossed it's like a 70% chance you get lucky, and that's what Inku did. Kato got hit second wave of the rocks dropping, so they did 5 rolls, and that gave them the right RNG. Cool. So they both managed to get Octominute. Kato got Octominute second try, but Inku's now in the lead after resetting at the beginning of the run. Meanwhile, Nimbus is going to be showing us the other route through Temple of Droplets. They might look pretty far behind, and it's because they had to go and upgrade their sword, so it's put them quite a bit behind. They lose some time from having to go to the castle extra times. Meanwhile, Inku and Kato, they're just going to go to the castle and upgrade their swords. But because they've delayed to this point in the run, they can upgrade not only to the red sword, but to the blue sword, because you get the blue sword after you finish this dungeon. So one of the things that Nimbus is going to do differently in this dungeon is they need to go and get a small key. So that's what they've... They haven't gone and got that small key just yet, but they've gone and activated a switch to make it quick to go and get. So once they get the boss key, they're going to save and quit, and then go and get that small key. And then they're going to be doing a slightly different version of the boss door clip, the boss door out of bounds, using the magic boomerang. They're not going to go directly to the Blue Chew fight. They're going to go to the midway point of the dungeon where the blue warp is. That's a very good room to get to the parts of the dungeon that we want to get to. The whole point of Nimbus's route is they're going to be going to the 2 switches that open up the Octo boss fight instead of having to do the Octo clip. So one of the things that we see with Inku and Kato is that when they've got the red sword, they're going to save and quit to reload the room that they're currently in. Because you need to reload the room to be able to get the next sword. We can't leave. I mean, we could leave, but it's just slow to do that because you'd have to... You have to demonstrate that you can clone before you're allowed to leave the room, and then you would have to re-enter the room, do the like upgrade the sword, and then do the whole puzzle again to leave a second time. And if we just do a save and quit, it reloads the room and triggers us allowing to be able to upgrade to the blue sword instantly. So it's just faster to do it that way around. So Nimbus is doing the boss door clip a slightly different way. No, they lined up incorrectly. Okay, that's a little bit tricky. The position that they like the setup that they're doing here. There is one pixel that you can be on that lets you do a screen transition without getting stuck inside of a wall. And they weren't on it. They were one pixel too far down. And because we're out of bounds when that's happening, it's really hard to be able to know if we're on that spot or not. There is a setup that you can use the cane to see some sparkle effects to see if you're on the right pixel or not. But they're not going for that. They're going for a setup that involves using the gust jar to get to the right, with the right timing and the right everything. It gets you into the right spot, but they got the inputs wrong. So Kato and Inku are going directly to the next dungeon, Palace of Winds. So as you see, Kato was doing the Ocarina glitch just now. We used the Redkin stone that we got ages ago to unlock the shortcut to the Wind Tribe, and from that shortcut position, we can use the Ocarina glitch to just walk through the NPCs, because with time frozen, for some reason, the NPCs' hitboxes are turned off, and we can just walk through them. And with that lets us skip having to do all of the graveyard and all of Cloudtops. We just saved 15 minutes by doing that. That's one of the fundamental parts of the speedrun that has been around for over, 15 years. So, Palace of Winds, the beginning of the dungeon's pretty RNG heavy. That first room with all of the P-hats and everything, it's really annoying. You have to be very quick on your reactions. But the Wizrobe fight that Inku just did, we're going to see Kato doing it in a little bit. That is, luckily, 0 RNG involved in that. That we just learn the inputs of, when we place the bombs, and it's a really cool setup and fight. Yeah, this dungeon is so cool. There's so many tricks that we're doing. So Inku just did a jump to a platform that skipped a bunch of rooms. Kato demonstrating the cool fight here. Inku is going to be doing another trick here called stair clip. Now, what they're doing is they are positioning Link sub-pixely perfect. When they fell off, it resets Link's sub-pixels, and then we do a consistent setup to line up with the right spot and do a boot dash, and for some reason, that staircase is missing collision that lets us do that sub-pixel perfect setup to clip out of bounds. Every other staircase has extra collision to make sure that that's not possible. That is basically the only staircase in the game that doesn't have that. There is one other staircase, and we are also going to do the stair clip from that one. That is going to be in the next dungeon, though, and it will be right at the beginning of the next dungeon. And we see Kato demonstrating it at the same time. Now Inku and Kato are just going to be going through these rooms in Palace. These are really fun rooms to play. So doing the stair clip, they went out of bounds, and they go and skip through to get to a small key. That small key requires us to have the power bracelets, and you get that when you go and get the flippers, and we didn't do that, so we wouldn't normally be able to come and get this unless we did this. And now, if everyone remembers Cave of Flames, the fire dungeon, the second dungeon, we did angle retention. Well, it's back. We did angle retention there and fired the cane shot into the hole to do the cane jump. But if you do angle retention, we get a diagonal cane jump, and it jumps us diagonally out of bounds. And then we can use that to skip having to open a small, a locked key door. And then that gives us the number of keys that we need. So Inku has 2 keys right now, so they can open this door right here and avoid doing a bunch of the other parts of the dungeon and go directly to get the boss key. Now, there's a boss door right here, and they've got the magic boomerang, so guess what? We're going to be doing boss door clip. We're going to do that to get out of bounds. And from this position, we're at the very top of the dungeon. We're a couple of rooms away from the boss, so we're just going to go out of bounds directly to the boss. Normally this is the halfway point of the dungeon, and you'd fall back all the way to the beginning of the dungeon, and you go through the dungeon a second time, but through different rooms to get back up to this point to be able to fight the boss. But yeah, we're just skipping the second half of the dungeon completely because we have the cape, we've got everything we need. We're just going to go and fight Georg. Georg is a very hard boss. It's very precise, and there's a lot of RNG involved, but if with practice, you can very consistently get fast fights. The major RNG things are going to be the blue Georg, if the eye is in the right position for our spin attack to hit. And then in the second half of the boss, the blue Georg is going to be moving around and shooting these projectiles. The projectiles are fixed. They're always aimed towards Link, and they're on a fixed timer when they fire them. But the movement that the blue Georg does through the room is random. Yeah, so unfortunately the blue Georg got in the way of Inku and it killed his clones. A lot of the time loss in this boss ends up being you get hit whilst you've made your clones, and you lose time because you have to create clones again, and creating clones is slow. Now, if we're lucky, sometimes the eyes on the red Georg are in a pattern that lets us hit them without creating clones, and unfortunately Inku didn't get that pattern. Kato has managed to catch up. They're on the same cycle right now. They're literally they are synced right now in terms of the boss fight. Oh, Kato keeps his clones alive and manages to hit the eyes quicker before Inku. Inku gets a kill. Kato has to repeat another cycle. They're gonna get it? Yeah, they got it. Okay. So both of them took multiple cycles in that. And Inku's on the final cycle now. Yep, they've got the fight done. Kato is hoping for good RNG. They get good RNG. They got the eyes together so they could do that cloneless. Oh, they're so close right now. They are literally seconds apart. That was really tight for Inku. Inku is on incredibly low health right now. They are, on half a heart, so they're going to be grabbing the heart container after this boss. Kato is almost on full health. He can overtake if he decides to skip the heart container. I don't know if that's something Kato's going to consider doing. They can't quite overtake. No, they're playing safe. They're going and getting the heart container as well. Apologies to Nimbus, we've been kind of ignoring him a little bit, but he's been doing the old route for Temple of Droplets, and he's now in the middle of the Octo boss fight. The RNG manipulation they are doing is different, but the concepts are basically the same. Nimbus got a good Octo pattern there. That is, they can just sit there, do... Did they just roll? Oh no. They got the do nothing pattern, but then they did a roll and died. They're gonna have to do the fight again. Okay, so Inku and Kato have to do this Moblin fight with this ladder in the way, and it's real goofy. The ladder is really annoying, it gets in the way. We have a setup to do this fight super fast when there isn't a ladder here. But when the ladder's there, the Moblins, it takes too long to get off the ladder, so the Moblins move based off of RNG, and we can't RNG manipulate them. It's just luck, and you have to... Yeah, it really sucks. Moblins are awful enemies. When they do their spear attack and hit you with their spear, it does a whole heart of damage. It's brutal. We saw Nimbus do this Moblin fight a little bit earlier because they did a different route. It lets them do this Moblin fight immediately. You can only do this fight once you've got the red sword because these guys delayed their red sword. That's why they didn't trigger this boss fight, this Moblin fight earlier. Oh, poor Nimbus. They got sucked by Octo again. Meanwhile, everyone's going and getting their full sword. This is going to be the last sword upgrade. So the swords, the green sword, the red sword, and the blue sword are all exactly the same damage values. The only thing they do is they increase the amount that you're able to clone. But with the full sword, we get a damage increase as on top of the one before. It's actually double the damage that we would have with the starter sword. We can clone up to 4 times. Like we can, well, depends what you mean. Like there's 3 clones and links, so there's 4 in total. But also on top of that, the full sword has a special beam that doesn't do any damage, but it is required to save some NPCs to be able to get inside the dungeon. Right, we're gonna see Nimbus get the same pattern they got before. They should just stand here and do nothing. And then Octo's gonna fire 3 rocks. Awesome. Oh no, yeah, Nimbus, you're winning the race at the moment. Inku and Kato decided to reset. Inku, I can't believe Inku's reset this twice now. They've gone back to the very beginning. But yeah, everyone, we've got a tight race here. Kato and Inku are going into the final dungeon seconds apart. This final dungeon is the hardest out of everything. The enemies are hard, the tricks are hard, and it's right at the end of the run. Literally the hardest stuff, apart from Octoclip, are going to be in this dungeon. And yeah, it's Choke City. We're going to see who's going to come out on top. So, at the beginning here, there is a trick called cutscene walking. They're going to do a lineup here with a spot on the ground, and then start saving the... Inku was too high, so they are going to have to slowly watch each of these cutscenes individually, whereas Kato activated cutscene walking and is able to walk whilst the cutscenes are playing, and stack all of these on top of each other. And this is a great demonstration of what the time difference is. Kato is just overtaken. You save about 11 seconds from doing that. Nice. So Kato has entered the dungeon, and Inku gets frozen each time they save one of these guards and has to slowly wait. Now here is stair clip in Dark Harrow Castle. This staircase is just like the one we saw in Palace. They're going to have to do a line up here, and then do a boot dash. Kato got the messed up the sub-pixel setup. Going to see if Inku gets it. Inku got the sub-pixel setup. Kato got a luck-based backup, and they managed to get it second try. So they did that to skip having to go and save the king and get a small key. That's quite slow, so they're just doing that out of bounds to escape the basement. Now they're going to exit the dungeon. Exiting and re-entering the dungeon establishes this as the entrance that they last used. So when they do save and quits in this dungeon to fast travel and to do RNG manipulations, it's going to reset us back to that spot, which is where we want to be. Now here is Cannon Room. Kato got the trick first try. We're going to see if Inku's going to get it. Inku also gets it. That's really tricky. Like, it's not the hardest trick. It's kind of easy to learn. You just need to build up the muscle memory for it. And especially when you're on like a race or like a PB pace run, it's really easy to choke. That trick's pretty self-explanatory. All it is we're timing a bomb to explode the same time we do a sword slash to hit all of the shots back without having to create clones. If you miss it, you lose like 10 seconds. But here they're going to do a save and quit to get back to the beginning of the dungeon. Now it's time for Ocarina Glitch. So they're going to be doing Ocarina Glitch. Every time they try and go for an Ocarina Glitch, it only loses about 2 seconds if they play the Ocarina. What they're really trying to avoid is going down the staircase. If you go down the staircase, you have to come back up and you lose 8 seconds. It's really slow. But they're doing a special safe version of it called Modern, which involves sliding in front of the doorway, which means that if you mistime your inputs, the worst that's going to happen is you clip a little bit into the staircase, but you don't actually like transition to the next room or anything, and you just pop straight back out. So it's not too bad. So they got Ocarina Glitch. they go to a staircase, and with the Ocarina glitch enabled, when they go up the staircase, they can't go back down the staircase because of how the game treats what tiles Link's standing on. The game basically doesn't understand that Link is now on a staircase when he's gone up the staircase, when he's trying to come back down. So Link gets pushed up to layer 2, and then he stays on layer 2 forever until you do something like jumping down or anything. So with that, we can do some out of bounds movement, and they go and get a small key. They're going down a bunch of these staircases that look like hey, they go down a staircase there. Why can't they do the trick like to go over walls from those staircases? And this game relies a lot. Like, those staircases are all layer 1. There's no change in elevation at all. It's all actually flat ground. So we have to go to that specific staircase because that's the one that actually gets them up to a higher elevation. And now they're going to go to this section of the dungeon. They're in the bottom right corner of the dungeon, but they've skipped directly to the second half of the dungeon, and they're going and getting small keys. We need 4 small keys, by the way, to go and get the boss key. They're doing the last Ocarina glitch now. You use the Ocarina glitch, and then you jump in the doorway, and then you can jump backwards through this door. These doors are closed, and they're locked by having to solve the puzzles in these rooms. We normally wouldn't be able to get past them, but they're doing setups to jump when they hit the screen transition, so that when they screen transition, they're mid-air and inside of a block that counts as a ledge tile, and then we can jump back into bounds from that. And one of the cool things with the Ocarina glitch is we don't void, like, we can just walk over the ground because, again, like, the game doesn't update what kind of tiles Link stood on. It just thinks we're on regular ground, so that's cool. So Kato's doing a setup for this boss fight. They don't get it. I believe Inku's doing an RNG manipulation. They were consulting their notes just now. They paused in that room for a moment just to see, because they saw an RNG drop from a thing, and they were checking to see what they need to do here. Okay, so they RNG manipulate this Black Knight to give them a good fight. There is a non-RNG manipulated boss fight, fight with the Black Knight, where you kind of like pin it in the corner and kind of easy to do. Kato, okay, so I wonder what Inku's going to do. Kato is going to go to the right-hand side. We're going to see what Inku does. Inku's going on the left. Okay, there's a new strat. So Kato is just going to do these next rooms normally just to get a small key. Inku is going to be doing a new trick. They're going to do angle retention off of being set on fire by this fire bar in this next room. Oh, they got hit by a bone and didn't get set on fire. Yeah, they tried to go for a YOLO version of it, but they went in the wrong direction, so they didn't get angle retention. So they're going to lose a few seconds here by having to push the block and then go down. But ideally, they would get angle retention, and when they push that block, they push it diagonally, and you don't need to fall down, and you save a couple seconds. But they lost a little bit of time there to that. Now they're going to do a save and quit, go back to the beginning of the dungeon, and they're going to follow Kato here, go through the warp, and get the boss key. Now with the boss key, they can go and go to Vati. We're going to be doing the final boss fight. The final boss fight is the hardest boss in the game. This whole time, from the save and quit that they just did, getting the boss key, from this point on, for the next 5 minutes, ideally, they're going to be doing an RNG manipulation to manipulate the boss fight to be ideally perfect. So, Kato is doing my manipulation. I don't know which manipulation Inku does. I believe it's Valax. So, we're going to see how Kato does. Nope, Kato messed it up in the Keaton room. They're going to reset. They think that it's going to be better for them if they reset and get the manipulation perfect than trying to do the boss fights with zero manipulation. We're going to see how Inku does. It looks like Inku's doing Vlax's manip. I don't see... Yeah, that's Valak's Minute. So they learned the timing of when they need to slash on these Keatons. 2, 3, 4 slashes. And that looks good. So now Inku is doing the triple Dark Knight fight. This is RNG manipulated. Good on the Black Knight. They're gonna... Oh no. Oh, they were too slow on the slashes and they got knocked away into the range of the red Dark Knight and hit him. So that killed the RNG manipulation. So now they're gonna have to do this boss unmanipulated. If Kato maintains the manipulation perfectly, they can overtake again. Yeah. So Inku's gonna have to be doing the boss completely unmanipulated from this point. They're gonna go and get some health. Alright, we're gonna see how Kato does. Kato manages to get through the Keaton room. Now they're going to be doing the Dark Knight fight. How's their Dark Knight fight going to go? They do a cutscene stack there, where they trigger cutscenes at the same time. Looks good on the Black Knight. Red Knight's killed. He's going to dash up to the top of the room, pinned against the corner and killed. Looks good. I think they missed a slash, but I don't know. So Kato's got the RNG manipulation at this point. Inku does not. The manipulation can save like a minute across Vati 1 and Vati 2. We're going to see how far Kato can take this. And how much Inku is going to lose due to RNG. Oof. Inku wasn't slashing well on Vati. They're going to have to repeat a cycle here. Okay, Inku is on the cycle where they have to use the Gust Jar. Kato, it looks like, still has the manipulation. Okay, looks good. No, Kato lost a minute, but they... are they going to be able to save some time here? So Vati's going to teleport around the room, a random amount of times. Like there's a... It's basically random how much they're going to teleport, and you just hope that Vati teleports somewhere close to you, and then has a long enough delay on their timer between their teleports that you have time to kill them. Alright, Inku had to repeat a cycle, so they're now on the very final cycle. Kato managed to overtake because he got a better fight. Kato had to do that fight minute plus, but just got a better fight than Inku. Inku really struggled. They had to repeat multiple cycles. Okay, Vati 2. Vati 2 is so heavily dependent on RNG. Alright, we're going to see if Kato gets a good position here. Yep, Vati moved into the perfect spot so that their clones hit the eyes. So they saved a little bit of time there. So Vati 3 has 3 cycles. They're going to damage, they're going to make the boss vulnerable 3 times. So they're both on the second cycle right now. Kato gets really good luck on that. How is Inku doing? Inku has damaged the eyes. Kato's onto the final cycle. How's the RNG doing? Inku got really good RNG there. None of the attacks came close to him. He's going to use the spin attack. Now, this fight can be 3-cycled by doing... Oh no, Kato lost his clones. The 3-cycle requires them to create clones and then do a spin attack with the clone and then do a sword slash. The spin attack with the clones is bugged, and it sets Vati's health to a specific value, which is just above its health threshold for the final fight. And a single slash will take it to below that. Okay, if I'm desynced, I'll refresh and see where we are now. I can't see where... Okay, Inku's now ahead. Inku managed to get a much better fight than Kato. I think Kato lost a cycle or 2. I didn't see what how the end of Kato's fight went. But Inku is slightly ahead, and I mean slightly. This can all come down to Vati 3. Vati 3 is full of RNG. The amount of time it takes to put the arms in the ground is completely determined by RNG and can vary by 13 seconds. That is more than the time difference between these two guys right now. From what I can see, they are 5 seconds apart right now. If I'm going by their timers. Okay, Inku gets a fast first arm. That's good. Unfortunately, it's the bad arm. You want Vati to put the inside arm in the ground. Both of them got the outside arm. We don't 100% understand why it chooses the arm that it does. We know that it's supposed to be based off of Link's current position relative to Vati, but whenever we try and stand in the right spot to make that what we want, it doesn't give us the one that we want. No! Inku died! Inku was on low health. They got really, really bad luck with the Dark Nuts, and Vati won. And they were on low health going into Vati 3, but they didn't go and get the health drop because they were going to hope that they did it perfectly. Kato is on low health as well. Kato has a fairy in a bottle, though. Kato was safe about this, and they made sure to go and get a fairy in a bottle at some point. So even if they're on a quarter heart right now, but they're on the final cycle of Vati 3, and they're not going to take damage from this point on. Even if they did, they have a fairy, so they will be they'll survive if they did get hit. So yeah, we're coming up to the end of the run. Kato is just going to volley these shots back 3 times. They're playing tennis because all great Zelda games always end with tennis with the main villain. Now, these shots are a little bit tight. You do have to make sure that you've lined up in the right spot. Yeah, unfortunately, Inku's going to be gutted dying in Vati 3. Inku is experiencing the pain of all Minish Cap runners here, dying in Vati 3. We all know the pain, but GG's to Kato. Rip bombs. Right, so we're going to be following Inku and Nimbus as they finish out their runs. Apologies to Nimbus. We've been so engrossed in the tight fight between Inku and Kato, but Inku is going to be doing Vati Minute now. They managed to do the Dark Minute perfectly so far, and they've done Vati 1 minute. We're going to see if they're going to get this all the way through. Okay. So there's basically 5 cycles to Vati. Vati 1, they have just on the 3rd cycle. They messed up the 4th cycle. Hello, Kato. GG's.
Hi, GG's.
Hey.
What a horrible run.
Yeah. Both you and Inku failed the rupee manip at the start.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Nice one rupee money.
What did you do? Like, did you expect that?
No, I was trying my 3-roll manip, but honestly, I was so hurry up that I missed something, I guess, because I need to reset at 20 seconds.
Yeah, you might have reset like too late, and then RNG didn't advance enough times, and then you got an earlier RNG than you were supposed to get.
Yeah, probably.
There was so much back and forth. Like you were a little bit behind Nimbus during intro, but then you like pulled ahead. And yeah, you basically maintained like your lead all the way through to Octo.
Oh my god, Octo.
Yeah. What was it? How many tries was it? I thought it was 3rd try for your first one, and then was it 1st try?
Yeah, that's correct. It was third try, then 1st try.
Yeah, cool.
The pattern was similar to the 5 rolls, but I didn't get damage, so I was like, okay, there was a rock in the left side.
I don't think it was possible to manipulate the one that you got. I have no idea what the pattern was. It's not in my notes, so it's not close.
But yeah, of course, the second try it's fierce.
You need to cut more RNG calls when you get third try.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I'm just like, okay, if it's one try, it's the one roll less. After fifth try, then it's like, don't do anything and hope it works.
Oh no, Nimbus died.
Oh no.
I didn't see where they were.
Body's very rough today. That's why you get the fairies.
Yeah,
in
honestly.
Races.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah,
Oh,
Inku was a little bit ahead of you going into Vati 3, and then they died.
Yeah, that's why you bottle a fairy in a marathon or a race run.
Where did you bottle it? I didn't notice it. Was it before Palace?
After Palace.
After Palace, okay.
Yeah,
right.
After Palace. I was foothill when I entered, and honestly, Palace was very good. So even the gear fight.
Inku had a really bad gear fight, and you caught up and was basically neck and neck, going like after getting the wind element.
Ooh.
Inku was a little bit ahead, and yeah, they didn't get the fairy. They've done Vati 2 just now. They're right before Vati 3, and they are bottling their fairy because they don't want to die again.
Yeah, that's another thing. If you don't have a fairy, grab a fairy before V3. Honestly, V2 is difficult in terms of health.
Yeah. Yeah, you failed the Keaton manip and then reset. Yeah. Inku managed to get the Darknut manip, but no, they didn't get the Darknut manip. As they killed the Black Knight, they got knocked too close to the other Red Dark Knight, and it slashed and it killed the manip at that point. So then they kind of got screwed up in the rest of the Dark Knight fight quite badly. Like, they were on full health before everything, and then they had a bad Dark Knight fight, and then Vati 1, they got like 7 cycles and then a million teleports, so they lost so much time, and you basically caught up to them in Vati 2.
That 2 was about to be so good.
Yeah,
That's
right, you were ahead after Vati 1, and then you lost a load of time in Vati 2.
Yeah, the last cycle was very unfortunate. I don't know what killed my clones, probably a rock from on top, something like that. But yeah, that was a very good party 2 without manip. So it was over at that point.
You go for Ezlo buffer.
Yeah.
For the death abuses. Was it both of them? I didn't catch you do Lon.
No, I haven't tried the Lake House.
Lake House, yeah.
Yeah, I used the setup there.
Yeah, Toads does it the complete opposite way around. They use my setup in Lon, and then they Ezlo buffer in Lake Door. Because the Lake one is more time save potential.
Yeah. I kind of want to do that, but I haven't tested the bomb throw. So
yeah,
I'm afraid of throwing the bomb
it.
too high and then can't see anything.
You just need to make sure you stood still when you throw it, and it always throws the same distance.
Oh.
Yeah, if you're walking, that's when the bomb's bobbing up and down and it throws differential different distances. Yeah. Anyway, GG's to Inku.
GG's Inku.
I'm gonna see if they want to join. Also, if you didn't see, the tournament sign up is open.
Let's go.
So, yep. Go do that ASAP. I mean, you have plenty of time. You have like a month. The sign up deadline is going to be the end of October. Should give everyone plenty of time to, if they haven't started derusting Minish Cap, to get derusting. There's plenty of time to get practice for the beginning of the tournament. And also, I'm sure if anyone wants to, they can learn Minish Cap.
In a month?
Yeah, from now you can start learning it and like get pretty competitive times in the month and a half or so before the first round of matches happen.
Yeah, honestly, we have a very good setups now of almost everything.
Right, oh yeah, Nimbus is on the Vati fights now.
We're gonna see them finish up.
I don't know if they've got a manip, or if they've... I think they might have learned the Dark Knight manip, I don't know. Yeah, no, this is not manipulated.
Yeah, but this is not yeah.
Yeah, Nimbus doesn't do Octoclip, so they save a lot of time over these. Well, actually, no. Inku did pretty well through droplets.
Throw Nimbus use.
They do. They do triple. They do cave triple in swamp. They do leather clip in fortress, but then they get the red sword before. I think it's pretty much advanced route that they do.
Oh, so the levers in the droplets.
Yes, yeah, because they just don't do Octoclip, that's all.
Well, you can see how much time difference is this.
Yeah, Nimbus did struggle a lot. They lost minutes earlier on in the run. They died in Deepwood and oh, they are on low health. Okay, they're gonna go and get hearts off of that.
Get the fairy.
Get the fairy. Bottom right pot, everyone knows, has a fairy, guaranteed. It's not RNG based. Alright, how's Vati 2 going to go? Is they going to go back to the middle? Yeah, but it didn't quite. Oh, they made their clone on the wrong spot, so it didn't get the hit. I think it might have. I don't know. Vati 2 is so tricky to get a feeling of like your clone's going to hit from that position or not, and like which directions it's going to move. You have to spend like hundreds of hours just doing this fight over and over again to understand how everything works.
If you ever had problems with this final fight, it's not you. The final fight is extremely hard compared to the other bosses.
It sucks. Like, sure, like a lot of people in their playthroughs will have struggled in Vati 3, whereas we don't really struggle in Vati 3, unless we go into it on half a heart and then die. But we know how to get the boss to do what we want. so we don't lose that much time. Whereas this is just pure luck. They keep making their clones in the opposite way you're supposed to.
Yeah,
Oh.
does it matter
Yeah,
if it's
do it that way.
left or...
What is this? That didn't work. I say any pattern works, but not that one.
Maybe a spin attack, but if you are in front of him, not
they're gonna do
inside of him.
They're doing the TAS orientation.
Let's go! No! Okay. He got it. Nice. Every pattern work.
Alright, we're getting Inku in. There we go. Welcome. GG's. Oh,
GG's,
there we go.
Inku.
Alright, GG's Inku.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, that was so close. Like,
Yeah.
after Kato messed up Octoclip and had to do it a second try, you were basically within 10 seconds throughout most of Palace and DHC. Like, I think
that close.
after Georg, you were almost synced. Like in the Georg fight, one of the cycles, you were synced. It was so
and
close.
Also, what a bad Georg fight I had. Like it was really terrible.
You were ahead, and Kato managed to catch up in the Georg fight, and then Kato went out of their way to get a fairy.
Yeah. That was actually the good thing to do, because I realized while I was doing Georg that I just missed, and I remembered Kato saying the race 1 week before. In a race, you always get that fairy.
You always get it.
Yeah.
You always get a fairy.
And I'm just distracted, I didn't get it.
I say get the fairy before the dungeon, because you can die in Georg, and you don't get to do the dungeon. Yeah, like, Georg can completely screw you up.
And you either do glitchless road or do Ocarina boost.
No. Oh, that trick is awful. No.
Yeah.
I was
you still lose 3
practicing
minutes.
glitchless this week.
Yes, yeah. Also, you know how to do the second half of Palace then.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose 5 minutes having to do that.
That's true.
I mean, you can do Ocarina boost to get out of bounds and reach the second boss door. But that still is hard.
That's the thing. Like, you save a couple minutes, but it's the old Octoclip thing. Like, well, I guess it's not frame perfect, but you have to basically do a frame perfect shield and then Ocarina play.
Bail.
In a precise position. Well, not that precise, but very tricky position.
Like, you can do the timing perfectly, but if you're like 1 pixel off, it won't work. It's annoying. It was really interesting. You both did the Black Knight fight almost the same time, and then you just split in different directions. Kazu, you went the right way. Not the correct way.
Right.
You went to the right and did the old way. Inku went to the left and did angle retention, but got screwed up. Anyway, GG's Nimbus.
Oh my god.
Wait. I have to ask you. Was that really a PB?
No,
Okay.
it was a 145. That was a race time PB.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Because race time keeps track of your times? or something?
Yes.
On race time only, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, GG's on the race PB.
Yeah.
I think you're hoping for a bit of a better one.
That was one of the runs I've done in my life, for sure.
That's me
for
after
everyone,
every
don't
race.
worry. I died in Octo.
I died 3 times.
Oh my god.
Damn.
I saw one of them. I'm sorry. Inku and Kato were synced through Palace and DHC,
Yeah.
so it was
saw.
manic.
I need to watch that though.
I stopped paying attention in DHC because I had the race on my phone. I was like, I want to watch this. I don't want to play.
You go autopilot mode and just watch the stream while doing the inputs.
Yeah, pretty much. Because you started Vadi when I was in the 4-sword cutscene, so I was like, ooh, something to do.
Goddamn. And I died miserably at Vati 3. Damn.
Yeah.
Aside to
That's
be
so
honest.
brutal. Everyone dies in Vati 3 once, and then they're like, okay, we're getting a ferry.
And the ultimately ironic thing is, just before starting Vati 3, I literally said on my stream, I'm confident I have almost 4 hearts. I'm confident I'm going to ace this. And I did not.
Yeah, you got the bad arm, and then you didn't get off the portal fast enough, so it spawned inside the other arm.
Now I totally understand
And then he
why
got
Toads
owned.
does their strat of luring Vati to the bottom of the room.
I ended the game with a quarter of health. And
Yeah,
a fairy in a
you
bottle,
had a
but
fairy in a bottle, yeah.
yeah, but still. And also I got a portal item, very, very weird.
If I hadn't seen that fairy in a bottle, it was going to be really tense to see if you were going to die and go and have to do the manip again with at the same time as Inku and just delay the end of the race.
If I didn't have a fairy in the bottle, I would probably die, because that's how this game works.
Yes.
It's always that.
Also, Inku, having to reset the manip at the beginning because of the both of you failed the rupee manip at the start.
Oh, both of us?
Yeah, both you and Kato.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no.
I was
That's
paying
so
attention. That
then
missed my money.
after you reset and did the whole thing, you got a lucky blue rupee just to troll you.
Yeah, and I got these twice. I was mad. Really, really mad. Like, the game is really telling me, you wanted these blue rupees, right?
Honestly, you should have just done what... Well, okay, so Kato, you continued, but then you went and got the old red rupee from the chest.
God, that's so I'm so ashamed of that.
From what chest?
I was expecting you to just throw pots and do extra
I
stuff to try and get
all the
RNG.
Sklugulas in the square room, hoping for even green rupees. I was looking for every green rupee I could get, and yeah, I ended the dungeon and zero rupees.
Yeah.
So I would say, nah, I'm not risking this. I'm just going to get these 20 rupees of
I don't
shame.
think there's a consistent spot for you to get rupees after that, so...
Yeah.
I farmed in the Helmasaur cave,
I
I think, when that happened to me.
Ooh.
Right before the green
yeah.
bean, where there's 18 pots.
Yes.
Very nice.
It's still
But
slow.
you need
still horribly slow.
you need
Still slow.
5 rupees before.
What is this 20
before
rupee chest you're talking
down.
about?
You know when we ride the red warp and then go to the right staircase to go up to the boss fight? You go to the left staircase instead, and there's a chest
Cave
there.
of Flames? Or...
In Deepwood,
No,
before Green Tube.
Deepwood Shrine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we go up the right staircase to go to the boss, the left staircase has a chest. And that was the old route, like back in before we knew the RNG manipulation for the rupee, and that was made in like 2016.
Damn.
Before that, they used to go and get that.
That's some great knowledge. Like,
yeah.
GG
honestly, this run for me had a lot of backups.
Yeah, for sure. If you know that, like, I mean, really impressive. Like it's much more efficient than just resetting and losing like 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
Well, Kato reset Vati. Like
I missed the kid on roof. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Probably slashes too early the first time.
Yeah, I messed up Dark Knight Manip and Keaton's too.
Yeah, me too. I should practice more this manip because I keep doing it slowly and losing track and Darkness attack and everything.
You gotta do it until you can do it eyes closed, muscle memory.
Yeah.
And then when you get nervous at the end of a race, if you're like ahead and you're on PB pace or whatever, and you're anxious or nervous or whatever, you just turn your brain off and just let your muscle memory do all of the playing the game for you. Then you don't make mistakes.
Yeah, really.
It's hard, but it's a proven strategy for people.
True.
It's a thing. Yeah.
But you're going to have plenty of time to practice because the tournament has been announced.
Ooh.
The sign-ups are open. The deadline is going to be...
while we were racing?
Just before.
Oh, okay. Because I saw a notification appear. So I was wondering if that was it.
Anyone who is interested, I'm posting the link in the Twitch chat, but anyone who's in the Minish Speedrunning Discord, go and check out the announcements page. The sign-up sheet is there, so you can fill out a Google form and sign up for the tournament. The deadline is going to be October the 25th. It's going to be midnight on that Friday for sometime in like the US, so it's going to be early morning on the 26th of October for people in Europe. But yeah, that's over a month's time, so there's plenty of time to practice before that. The only requirements for signing up is you need a verified run on the leaderboard. You can sign up before you've got a run on the leaderboard. Just make sure that you have submitted a run before the deadline. But yeah, this is going to be an any percent speedrun tournament, so it's going to be this category, beat the game as fast as possible, no restrictions other than like regular speedrun rules of like no cheating. But yeah, it's double elimination, so there's going to be an upper and lower bracket. If you lose one match, you go down to the lower bracket, and if you lose 2 matches, you're out of the tournament. There's going to be seeding based off of your PB on the leaderboards. That's what everyone's voted on. This is the most popular one, so we're going with that. And there's an option where you're going to be able to join the redemption bracket. If you get knocked out in the tournament before you've reached the top 4, you can enter into a special knockout bracket called the redemption bracket, where Octoclip is banned. So we're going to see who's the best of the rest.
Oh my god.
And yeah, so, well, I hope everyone tunes in weekly for at this time. We're going to be running regular races for Minish Cap, and everyone's a bit rusty right now, getting quite slow times.
A little bit.
I don't think Kato's super happy with a 138, seeing as last week you PB'd in the race with a 132.
And that was the last run I played.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're excited for Minish Cap stuff, we're back on ZSR weekly, and look forward to, in a month's time, we're going to be having the tournament, so there's going to be a lot of matches coming up. That's gonna be it from me. Does anyone have anything else they would like to say?
I have a technical question regarding like race time GG. So my game usually won't reset when it reaches like minus 11. What was it?
Were you using the race mode on the tool?
Oh, okay. So maybe I didn't check it again because I was. So I'm currently running on yet another computer.
Another PC.
Another PC, yeah. And I did not check race mode, right.
Yeah, make sure you have race mode enabled, and that will reset the game in time with
last
the race
time
start.
I checked race mode and it didn't work. I don't know why.
Okay, you can open up solo races, I think, and then test it to see if it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I'll try
if you
that.
need a person to join, just like at me, and I'll quickly join, and we can do a scuffed start.
Okay.
Oh, if you set your timer to -20 and start it, it will test it. Like it's not dependent on tying it to race time. You don't need to connect it to race time; it will just do it.
True. Okay.
Cool.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You then?
Yes.
Right.
Nothing.
Thank you, Miss, for doing this whole thing by yourself here. To all three of you guys for a great run to watch. It's a good time.
Thank you too.
Managed to get back on the restream, even if it's not randomizer.
Good to be back.
And thank you to chat for coming out. I'm going to send us over to Scrub Central. They're doing a Scrubs tournament right now, so it's one of their qualifier rounds. So they're about an hour and a half in. It's Ocarina time. So that's where we're going to go. So I hope everyone has a good night, or a good time zone, rather. And we'll see you all later.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.